Morning, everybody. We're just waiting for a few more folks to join. Just started a little late today, so we'll just wait. Meanwhile, very nice to see all your reflections, all of you from Lotus Petal. Thank you for that. The power really is in reflecting. Right? That's when you really think, and that's when you really grow. So keep the reflections going. So, Marisha, you want to just share the Joy of Learning diaries? Maybe you want to just go through it very quickly. Okay, let me pull them up. So, morning everybody, Jai Hind. I'm just sharing Joy of Learning diaries, which we got some very nice reflections over the week. Dreams. Yes. Eat Prince from Sunday School. Let's see what this is. Ikigai. From Sunbeam Leher Tara. Then we also got more from Sunbeam Leher Tara. Shaurya, Arati, very nice. So Arati, we got these ones from Lotus Petals. And I just really love the way they, you all are, using this medium. There is, you know, there's a art there. There is, I mean, it's very creative. It's amazing. So it's fantastic, actually. Very true. Sometimes a book can change your emotion, right? That's what. That's exactly what Shaska said, right? The book, the book goes to your head and to your heart. Sapne. So clearly, a lot of reflections on dreams and very nice ones. See. Yeah, Sunbeam Brahmin as well. Sakha, Nancy, Suraj, very good. सीखोगे तभी जब आप सोचोगे और लिखोगे। और आप देखोगे कि आप लिखोगे तो आपकी जो लिखाई है, सोच है, बेहतर बनती जाएगी। Very powerful, blog by Rishona on setbacks. Okay, so that was a little on what we had going on Joy of Learning Diaries. So Nisha should be. Let me just see one sec. I actually wanted to do something, but somehow my Yahoo is troubling me. Uh, you know, let me just try once more. Meanwhile, anybody has anything to say about what we read last time? Anything? Anything you remember from the session on Ikigai? Any learnings from the session on Ikigai? Anything you remember, or everything's forgotten? Anything anybody remembers, or all forgotten? Why it's important? Yes, it's basically trying to ensure that you. Manisha, just wait. I just want to show something. Okay, sorry, just wait. Yeah, thank you. So, in the session on Ikigai, uh, one thing that, yes, Yash, it can change your entire life. And, we did, um, Komal did make the point that success in life, 10% is IQ and 90% is EQ, right? And there was a quote that she shared in the beginning, which was that passion equals drive, drive equals determination, and enough determination equals success. Okay. So when I think of determination, the word that comes to mind comes perseverance and another word called grit. And there's a professor of psychology called Angela Duckworth. And I want to, share a short video with you on what Angela Duckworth's research on grit uh, grit says. Okay, so let me just share that with you. Okay, it's a TED talk that she's giving, I think. Okay, so let's go. Can you all hear?
No, sir, it's not audible.
Can you all hear?
Not yet, sir.
No, sir.
Because I think I forgot to do that thing to.
Yes, sir.
Let me just share it again. Just hang on. Share sound.
When I was 27 years old, I left a very demanding job in management consulting for a job that was even more demanding, teaching.
Can you hear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I went to teach 7th graders math in the New York City public schools. And like any teacher, I made quizzes and tests, I gave out homework assignments. When the work came back, I calculated grades. What struck me was that IQ was not the only difference between my best and my worst students. Some of my strongest performers did not have stratospheric IQ scores. Some of my smartest kids weren't doing so well. And that got me thinking. The kinds of things you need to learn in 7th grade math, sure, they're hard. Ratios, decimals, the area of a parallelogram. But these concepts are not impossible. And I was firmly convinced that every one of my students could learn the material if they worked hard and long enough. After several more years of teaching, I came to the conclusion that what we need in education is a much better understanding of students and learning from a motivational perspective, from a psychological perspective. In education, the one thing we know how to measure best is IQ. But what if doing well in school and in life depends on much more than your ability to learn quickly and easily? So I left the classroom and I went to graduate school to become a psychologist. I started studying kids and adults in all kinds of super challenging settings. And in every study, my question was, who is successful here and why? My research team and I went to West Point Military Academy. We tried to predict which cadets would stay in military training and which would drop out. We went to the National Spelling Bee and tried to predict which children would advance farthest in competition. We studied rookie teachers working in really tough neighborhoods, asking which teachers are still going to be here in teaching by the end of the school year. And of those, who will be the most effective at improving learning outcomes for their students? We partnered with private companies asking which of these salespeople is going to keep their jobs and who's going to earn the most money. In all those very different contexts, one characteristic emerged as a significant predictor of success. And it wasn't social intelligence, it wasn't good looks, physical health, and it wasn't IQ. It was grit. Grit is passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Grit is having stamina. Grit is sticking with your future, day in, day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years, and working really hard to make that future a reality. Grit is living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint. A few years ago, I started studying grit in the Chicago public schools. I asked thousands of high school juniors to take grit questionnaires, and then waited around more than a year to see who would graduate. Turns out that grittier kids were significantly more likely to graduate, even when I matched them on every characteristic I could measure, things like family income, standardized achievement test scores, even how safe kids felt when they were at school. So it's not just at West Point or the National Spelling Bee that grit matters, it's also in school, especially for kids at risk for dropping out. To me, the most shocking thing about grit is how little we know, how little science knows about building it. Every day, parents and teachers ask me, how do I build grit in kids? What do I do to teach kids a solid work ethic? How do I keep them motivated for the long run? The honest answer is, I don't know. What I do know is that talent doesn't make you gritty. Our data show very clearly that there are many talented individuals who simply do not follow through on their commitments. In fact, in our data, grit is usually unrelated or even inversely related to measures of talent. So far, the best idea I've heard about building grit in kids is something called growth mindset. This is an idea developed at Stanford University by Carol Dweck, and it is the belief that the ability to learn is not fixed, that it can change with your effort. Dr. Dweck has shown that when kids read and learn about the brain and how it changes and grows in response to challenge, they're much more likely to persevere when they fail because they don't believe that failure is a permanent condition. So growth mindset is a great idea for building grit, but we need more. And that's where I'm going to end my remarks, because that's where we are. That's the work that stands before us. We need to take our best ideas, our strongest intuitions, and we need to test them. We need to measure whether.
Okay, so I just wanted to introduce you to the concept of grit. I know I've talked about it before and we've seen this video before, but that was a long time ago. So this is just continuing on the thought that came 2 weeks ago, that you need more than IQ to be successful in life. And grit is a very, very important component of it. And Angela Duckworth talked about growth mindset, and we will talk about it next time. I'll show you a short video on the growth mindset next Sunday. So, and the point that Rishona made around recovering from setbacks, uh, grit is important. So Yash is asking, what is grit? Anybody? What have you understood? What is grit? What is grit? Anybody? What is grit? Yes, determination. Absolutely. Determination, right? Perseverance, not giving up. Okay. And if you look around you, you will see examples of it. Amongst your friends, you will see examples. Among seniors in school, juniors in school, your own batchmates, you will see examples of people who don't give up. They keep trying, they keep at it, right? Passion is one thing that helps you keep moving forward for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, the broader point being made is that grit is also a very key determinant of success. And, many times you can have sort of middling talent, but with grit, you can get things done. Okay. And Angela Duckworth has looked at people in West Point Military Academy. You can think of it as like the IMA in India, and also, in school, in jobs. So it's right through life, right? So that's why I wanted to just share that with you. And as I said, we'll talk about the growth mindset next time. Yeah, Manisha, you can share the book. So last time, I was a little rushed, unfortunately. Somebody had passed away in the building, and I needed to go for a short ceremony that we have in the building. And I was also very keen to finish the chapter because it's been going on for a while. So I kept reading, pretty much continuously. But there were some very interesting things actually that have been coming up, and I know uh, the how brain and the neural networks is one thing, and Angela Duckworth also talked about it today, and we're trying to find some time to cover it, hopefully next time, right? But the last in the last session on Sunday, uh, one very powerful thing happened, right? If you see what's been happening, okay, let me ask you, what is the difference between Kal and Shaska? What is the difference? I mean, obviously the age and all that stuff is there, right? No, Anam, grit is not about gratitude. Grit is not about gratitude. Grit is determination. Gratitude is being grateful, thankful, right? And gratitude is another subject in itself, which hopefully we will, touch on. We'll certainly touch on it at some stage or the other over the next several weeks. I'm sure it keeps coming up and it'll come up again. Gratitude is a very critical thing I have in life, actually. So yeah, just coming back to what I was saying. So what do you think is the difference between Shaska and Kal? in their approach to things. What is the difference? What do you think is the difference between Shah? Carl likes to read sad books. His behavior is different from Shasta. Yeah, I'm trying to ask, how is his behavior different? Yes, his behavior is different. Yes, Reed.
Maybe Carl was about to just complete his job to provide books to everyone, and Shasta was the one who feel the book and who know that the books resets are mine.
You know, actually, I'm having a little difficulty with my sound. Can you just say that a little louder, Reed? Just say that again a little louder, please.
Carl was the one who was just completing his job to provide books to everyone, and Shasta was the one who was feeling book and who knew that books are the one which resets are mine.
Yeah, yeah. Kajal, loudly, please, huh?
Sir, in the previous story, in the previous chapter, we learned that uh, they were going to give books, and there was a girl. I don't remember her name, but she was
Shaska.
sad, and Carl gave her a sad book. But
Right, Effie. Yeah.
Saska was against this, and she said she did not deserve a sad book.
Yes, yes. So that's the point. The question is, why is this happening? Right? Carl is, just in routine, going through doing the same thing again and again every day. He's used to it. There's a particular uh, he's operating with a particular mindset. No, he's not thinking. He's just going on with his day-to-day thing on a day-to-day basis. Shaska's coming in fresh, right? uh, Shaska's coming in fresh and she's bringing a new mindset to things, right? And if you see the difference between them, obviously it's a lot to do with age. But how would you describe Shasta? A little bit that you've known about, seen her. So how would you describe Shasta? Two, three, four adjectives for Shasta. What would they be? What is she like, Shasta? What is Shasta like? Thoughtful. Yes, she is thoughtful. She seems to be fairly clever to me. Yes. Yes, Anam, appreciate that. Joyful, happy, and live the moment. Yes, Reed. Absolutely. She's joyful, she's happy, she's running around, friendly, yes. What else? Some of you may not have been there when the story started in the beginning, but uh, Shaska used to observe Carl doing his delivering his books. She thought of him as the book walker, and she just came out on her own and decided to join him. Internal purity of thought. Yeah, she had very good observation. Yes, very good paths of observation she has. Right, we saw last time. She uh, observed many things that Carl hadn't observed, right? In terms of obviously she's taken more liberties, right? Gone and checked the books, and she's gone and moving around in people's houses and all that stuff, which Carl wasn't doing. So she's bold, she's curious, she's clever, she's thoughtful, yes, and she is going based on data, right? She's observing people, she's seeing and the points that she made around that when you give people the books and uncovering it, they're not happy. Yes, she's very confident, absolutely, Jia. So it's a very different mindset from Carl's mindset, right? So many times when we are doing something which you've been doing for a long time, you're doing it in just a particular way, you don't think about it, it's just routine, you keep doing it, right? So the point here is somebody comes in with a fresh perspective, and you get a totally different view of the situation, right? So that's the point, and that's also the reason why diversity in teams is very valuable because every person has their own पर्सपेक्टिव सबका देखने का नजरिया अलग होता है। तो अगर आप कोई चीज करे जा रहे हैं, आप उसके बारे में खास सोच नहीं रहे, शास्त्रा बाहर से आ रही है, उसको देख रही है और सोच रही है और कह रही है तो सही नहीं है। आप जो जो पहले से ही नाखुश है, आप उसको और ऐसी किताबें दे रहे हैं जो जिसके बारे में जिसमें बहुत ट्रेजेडी है, सैड सैड कहानियां हैं। तो उसका क्या फायदा? आप उनको खुशी की कहानियां दो। ये शास्त्रा कह रही थी जब पिछला चैप्टर खत्म हुआ था। ठीक है जी। तो अब हम ये नया वाला शुरू करते हैं। In which much the same way that a storm which begins brewing over a far distant ocean is inevitably destined to hit you in a few days' time, Carl had no idea what lay ahead. Okay, now let me ask you a question. Would you like to know what is ahead of you in your life? Would you like to know or you wouldn't like to know? Think about it for a second. Would you like to know what's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen day after? What's going to happen in 10 days? What's going to happen in 20 days? What's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years, 30 years? Would you like to know or you wouldn't like to know? Think about it. Reflect on this question. Any immediate answers? Would you like to know? That's good, Isha and Meisha. But why don't you try and answer the question? Would you like to know? So,
I'd like to know.
Abhiman says yes, would like to know. Jia says no. So, Jia, why wouldn't you like to know? Shaurya likes to know. Anam says no, wouldn't like to know. There's no right or wrong answer. But the question is why? You'd like to know as well. So if you find out what's going to happen, what's the thrill left in life? Right? What is the excitement left if you know what's going to happen? That's what Jia says. That's what my initial reaction was. Yes, Meenakshi.
Well, it's a both yes and a no. Maybe what I would like to know certain things which I can, change. But there are many things that I cannot change. Now, if I come to know about that I cannot change the situation and it's going to, it's not going to be that good for me, then it is better that I should not know because it will sort of dishearten me, it's to slow me down. So that is the thing. But otherwise, sometimes we all keep asking astrologers and all, kya hoga, sahi hoga ki nahi. Though we know the answer, it's not necessary that they really do know. They do come up with proper answers. But we like to somehow, guess the future and be prepared for it. But at the same time, somebody tells me that, oh, you're going to die at this age on this date and all those things. I don't want to know those things. So
Yeah,
you
thank
understand?
you.
So that's how it is.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Meenakshi. Yes, I think there are certain things that you may want to know and some things you may not want to know. But yeah, I just thought maybe we should ask you when you want to think about that subject a little bit. Okay, so let me start again. In much the same way that a storm which begins brewing over a far distant ocean is inevitably destined to hit you in a few days' time, Carl had no idea what lay ahead. This was entirely due to the fact that while his knowledge of foreign languages included English, French, Latin, and even a little ancient Greek, it did not extend to the distinctly more complex language of youth. Carl was unaware of the multiplicity of meanings the word okay could encompass. When Shaska said the word, Carl took it to mean understood. They won't each be given a book they should read. In fact, it had meant you can think that as much as you like. I see it totally differently, and I will do what I please, whatever you think. The word okay was much bigger on the inside. What didn't pass unnoticed was that the following day, Shaska's backpack had increased considerably in volume. So, why do you think Shaska's backpack is increased in volume? What is inside it?
Her books.
Yes, the straps dug deep into her yellow winter jacket, and the weight was making her stand more upright than usual. Don't you want to drop off your school things at home first? I will wait for you, said Carl. No, I'm fine. Should I carry something for you? Absolutely not. Shaska hunted for a good argument to stop Carl asking further questions. You're old. I should be carrying something for you. Then Shaska asked who was getting a book today and in what order. She had never asked this before, but the question didn't strike Carl as strange in any way. The first customer was Mr. Darcy. Mr. Darcy is actually Hohenhesch. Darcy is a character in Pride and Prejudice, who led them into the garden. It had rained, and Darcy, who was allergic to numerous types of pollen, felt able to step outdoors for a few hours. There was not another person in the city who longed so earnestly for a shower of rain. To him, each raindrop was a bead of pure liquid freedom. Inhaling a deep lungful of the purified air, he showed them his linen floral clock, a flower bed from which they could interpret the time of day by its open blossoms. The noon flower bloomed from midday to 5 p.m. The night flowering catchfly from 7 to 8 p.m., while meadow goat's beard was the early riser, flowering from 3 a.m. to noon. Some plants were extremely precise. The gentian opened its buds at 9 a.m., the St. Bernard's lily at 6. As the year progressed, Darcy had a succession of new plants installed in the bed, as some only bloomed for a brief few weeks. Next to the floral clock stood a magnificent basket chair. It looked as though it couldn't possibly have been woven by human hands, but had simply sprung from the garden's fertile soil, growing into a shape that promised the deepest comfort. You've got a beautiful reading seat there. It's not mine. No one has ever sat in that chair. Carl stepped closer to the seat and stroked his fingertips over its smooth, glossy material. Is it an artwork? No, it symbolizes a desire or perhaps a dream. There is nothing I find more beautiful. Please don't laugh at me. There is nothing I find more beautiful than a woman reading. When she sinks deep into a book and forgets everything around her because she's actually somewhere else entirely. The movement of her pupils, the deep breathing at a particularly dramatic scene, or her smile at a humorous passage. I would so love to have a woman living here, whom I could watch as she reads all day. He smiled at himself. It would be like reading a book in a language I don't understand. At university, there was a fellow student who often sat near me to read. Sadly, she had not the slightest interest in me. Carl would have loved to hear more about this special fellow student and about the floral clock, but there were books waiting to be delivered. Shaska was silent, repeatedly bouncing up and down on tiptoe. She was eager to move on and had been right from the moment they had rung the doorbell. Mildly aggrieved at Shaska's disinterest, Darcy escorted them back to the entrance instead of watching the next flower open, as had been his plan. For a few paces, Shaska said nothing, although she had the words assembled ready on her tongue. She was waiting until they were far enough from the villa before voicing them. I've forgotten something. I have to go back. You go ahead. I'll catch up with you. Shaska ran, and Carl walked on. She rang the doorbell, and Mr. Darcy opened in surprise. Has something happened? Carl forgot to give you this book. It's his birthday today. In that case, shouldn't I be the one to give him a present? It's a round number birthday. Where he comes from, that's when you give other people gifts. Where does he come from? Panama, said Shaska, who read about the country in a book where the characters walked constantly. Must go. Shaska caught up breathlessly with Carl, thinking how splendidly her plan had worked, and how good it was that her backpack now weighed a little less. So you can see what Shaska's plan is, what she had in her backpack, and what she's doing now. Right. So anything interesting that in what we've just read? Anything new that you've learned? Anything interesting? Floral clock, interesting. Different flowers bloom different time of the day, right? And why do you think that happens? Why do they bloom at different times of the day? Why do they bloom at different times of the day? So will you try and find that out and tell me next time? Why do they bloom at different times of the day? Or do a reflection on that? Anybody, any thoughts right now? Why do they bloom at different times of the day? Panama, yes. It's been Panama, the Panama Canal has been much in the news, right? Right. So yeah, Panama is a different country, and their public infrastructure is not as good, so people end up walking a lot, is what I read. So yeah, okay. So try and find out why different flowers bloom at different times of the day. Based on what I read, I have some idea, a thought on it, but let's see what you come up with. Okay. There is, an interesting interaction here where quite clearly Mr. Darcy is a customer. Somebody asked for Mr. Darcy. Mr. Darcy's name is Hoanesh. He's actually a customer. And Carl has this method of giving everybody names from books. So that's why he calls him Mr. Hoanesh. He calls Mr. Darcy. And Darcy is a character from Pride and Prejudice. Uh, so Darcy says that please don't laugh at me. Right? How many times have we not done something because we have been worried that somebody will laugh at us? Has that happened to you? Not done something because you think somebody will laugh at us. I can tell you it's happened a lot in my life. Right? Now, especially when I was your age, I was very conscious of it. It happens a lot to all of us. But should you be worried? Should you be worried that somebody will laugh at you? Why shouldn't you be worried? So, Yash, tell us, why shouldn't you be worried? Vanshika, why shouldn't you be worried?
May I tell you, sir?
Yes, please.
So because whatever we are doing, it's for our benefit, not for those who are laughing at us.
Yeah, it's for you're doing it for yourself, and you're doing something. I mean, we're not experts at everything, right?
Yes, sir.
Only when you try something, you will, you will do it again. You learn how to do. You'll become better. So, I mean, everybody will fail you will fail in the beginning, right? In many
Yes,
things.
sir.
But and we talked about, the book that's being read in on the Saturday sessions is productive failure, and I think we talked about Manisha read the chapter on failure. I think right time before last, right, Manisha? Wasn't it on failure? Think so. So yeah, we shouldn't be worried because only when you try and you only when you keep doing things, you become better. Practice is what makes you perfect, right? So you shouldn't worry about people laughing at you. Okay?
Sir, there's nothing to be ashamed of if you are trying something.
Yeah, yeah, nothing to be ashamed of, and nobody, you'll only learn, when you try things, right?
Jugjiv
Okay.
sir, it was about accepting your mistakes.
Yes, yes, accepting your
Exactly.
mistakes. Correct. Correct. Okay. So let's go ahead. When they arrived at Effie's, she was sitting by the window. It was the first time Carl had seen her there, her head sunk deep in the pages of her book. He was reminded of Darcy's wish, but it wouldn't have held true for Effie. There was no beauty in her reading. She held the book like a shield in front of her face. Of course, anyone could simply tear a book away, but a person reading was in some special way protected, as if they were engaged in a sacred ritual. The room behind Effie was dark. A shadow detached itself from the darkness and stepped towards her. A man, older than Effie, his white hair shaved close, his feathered features sharply defined, his build athletic. He looked like a soldier, and Karl shuddered to think how the name he had selected for Andrea Kremen was so closely suited her. So Andrea Kremen is the real name, and Effie Effie Bryst is what Carl, calls her. Okay, and this is the first time that a man has been introduced in her house. Quick, ring the bell, he said to Shaska, who skipped immediately to press the button next to the gold nameplate. Carl followed her, keeping a nervous eye on the window. He hoped Effie would get up, that the book lying in his backpack would offer her covering fire and open a path to the door. But her head sank deeper between the pages. The door opened abruptly. Steel blue eyes stared down at him, a picture of reproach for the disturbance. Reproach? What does reproach mean? Manisha, do you want to go to that word? Reproach anybody? What does reproach mean? Okay. So express someone's disapproval or disappointment in their actions, right? Do you all look at a dictionary when you don't understand a word? Hope you do, right? These are there online also these days. Google tells you the meanings very easily, right? So please, when you come across a word that you don't know, please stop. If you're not able to understand what we're reading here, please ask what the meaning is. But otherwise, when you're reading yourself, please do look at the meaning. Very easy these days. Actually, it's fairly easy earlier also because we all used to have dictionaries. I mean, it's part of a standard set of books we got from school every term. Right? You had a dictionary where you could consult if you didn't know. what something meant. Good evening, Citygate Bookshop. I have a delivery for Mrs. Kremen. Where do I sign? I need a few words with Mrs. Kremen about it. She's not at home. Silence. Then Shaska piped up. She's sitting by the window. I can see her right there. She pointed as if a statement required evidence. She's not here. Come back tomorrow. The man slammed the door. Effie glanced up, revealing her left cheek red and swollen. Ring the bell again, commanded Shaska. No, replied Carl. It might only make things worse for her. Or better, Shaska rang the bell. A shout came from inside. Then Effie stood up. She opened the door a crack, just the width of a book, showing only the unbruised side of her face. I'm sorry, I'm not very well. I can't. Did the man hit you? Asked Shaska. Should we call the police? No, exclaimed Effie. I must get back to him. Here's your book, said Carl. We'll be back. Stay safe. Here's my number if you want to talk to someone. He scribbled it quick on a bookmark and passed it through the crack in the door. Then Effie's world closed once more. Effie was alone again with her husband, Matthias, the man with whom she had fallen in love so deeply all those years ago. It had been during her time in the emergency department. Matthias had come in with minor injuries and small fractures. His body language shouted coiled spring. His eyes clearly expert at spotting gaps in persons' defenses. Anyone could see there was something not quite right about this man in the perfectly fitting dark blue business suit. Effie could see it too, but she wanted to find out what it was. In treatment room 3, the man told her he had been beaten up. 3 guys had laughed at him for reading a book on a park bench. He'd had no chance against them. That was the moment the seeds of Effie's love were planted. She had chosen Matthias, believing a man who reads a book must have a sensitive heart. It didn't matter what else might be wrong with him. What would be enough to change him, to save him? She'd never asked which book he'd been reading. Its sensational title, printed in block capital on the jacket, was How to Win Any Battle. The 3 men had read it, taken it as provocation, and made derogatory remarks about Matthias. He'd leapt up in an instant and lashed out at them. He'd quickly lost the battle, but it had felt good. Later, he started going to the city's home soccer games at the weekend. Not for the soccer, but for the post-match fighting. Every punch he landed, every blow he felt, made him feel alive. The punches became addictive. At some point, he brought his addiction home to his own 4 walls. Can you just unmute? Can you just mute it, Mayank? Yeah, thanks. He still loved Effie, but he loved hitting her even more. Effie had never given up hope that the sensitive man with the book on park bench would someday understand what was wrong with him. And she believed the more she loved and cared for him, the more beautiful she made their home, the sooner this would happen. But no matter how many things she did right, Matthias always found something wrong. And that was good enough grounds for a punch. He really didn't like hitting her, he said. It was just that she deserved it. Punishment was the only option in his eyes. The tragedy was Matthias honestly couldn't see any alternative. It was no comfort to Carl that Effie had a new book to sustain her. That wasn't enough, said Shaska. We have to do more for her. You're right. We should think of a book that will help her. Shaska had no answer to this, so she remained silent. As soon as they turned the corner, she realized she had left something behind again. Carl wondered whether children were as forgetful as old people. He couldn't remember for certain. When Shaska also forgot something at Mrs. Longstocking's, whose discovery of the day was at the sight of her she could barely contain his ardor. Carl surreptitiously followed her back to the house. Dog appeared out of nowhere, accepted a small treat from Carl's old pastel tin, and they watched together as Shaska gave the old woman a book wrapped in candy-colored paper. After unfolding the paper, Mrs. Longstocking gave Shaska an affectionate hug, then disappeared momentarily before returning to give Shaska a bar of chocolate. Carl could have given a great deal to see the title on the book, but he didn't want to embarrass Shaska by interrupting them. He was sure an embarrassment-free opportunity would present itself shortly if Shaska should happen to forget something at his final customer of the day. She skipped up to Carl, took her backpack, and swung it around her body like a dance partner. Dog looked on, disconcerted, with tail erect. Carl gave it an extra portion from the pastel tin as compensation. After all, they were a strange these were strange times for Dog too. What is dog? What animal is dog? Dog that Carl is, giving the pastel, the toffees to, sweets
It's a
to.
cat.
Say that again.
It's a cat.
Manisha, you're answering. You're not supposed to answer that.
Students forgot. That's why I was answering.
No, yeah. Dog is actually a cat. Okay, so now we read this section and we found out a little bit more about Mrs. Kremen, that's Effie's life and her husband, right? And so, any thoughts on this Effie situation? Any thoughts on Effie's situation and what she should be doing? What do you think Effie should be doing? She's in a very violent relationship, right? Her husband is beating her up, right? But her belief is that that she keeps trying, she keeps keeping a good home, and eventually, he will understand why he's doing what he's doing, and he will become a good man.
I have a question.
Yes, Yash.
So the husband of Effie, Matthew, so what he does?
I don't
Means
know.
what
We haven't
he
found
do?
out so far what he does. Besides the fact that he loves fighting, that's what keeps him going, right? It's said that he likes going to the soccer matches so that he can participate in a fight later.
Okay,
So
thank you.
Gia says violent relationship isn't good for her. Yeah, I mean she is the person that they've been giving all these sad books to. Psychologist Preet Pandey says yes, she can certainly consult a psychologist for whom? For both of them, I guess. Yes, what else can she do? Right? Difficult situation, right? What else can she do?
She can leave that situation.
She can,
She can left her husband.
yeah, she can do that as well. She can go to the police. They
She
go,
has
go to a
married.
psychologist to try and get it treated, right? Anything else? Any other ideas?
Actually, she is being delusional. Okay. She feels that her husband is going to get better if she treats him well enough. But he is in the habit, he has a complex actually. He has a complex whereby he needs to show off that he's more strong, more powerful, much better. And he also has this complex of, being judgmental. So nothing she does will change that unless something is done about his mindset. She also has this thing that the need to suffer, I think, somewhere along the line. Otherwise, why will somebody put up with such a situation? So these are the things that we can see about her, and probably that is the reason why she is given a sad book every time. Okay, and
Yeah.
so to help her, actually, she needs a There's no doubt she needs a psychiatric help where she can come out of this mindset.
Yeah.
And of course, her husband also needs that. That there's no doubt. So both of them are supporting each other's psychological disabilities in a way.
Right. Right. The way it is. The way.
Sashka can change the Effie's life. Sashka.
Sorry. Say that again.
So can Sashka make Elif relief from his problem?
Well, I mean, Shaska is certainly very concerned, and she's certainly, uh, wanting to help. But let's not forget she is like under 10 years old. But she certainly has, you know, her instincts are right about the situation.
But
And
Carl is with her now. That's why. Carl
yeah,
cannot.
well, Carl is with her, but Carl is not willing to get more involved, right? He's saying, he actually said that, yeah, maybe like, she'll feel
He don't
happier
want.
with a book.
He don't want to be a part of that.
Well, I mean, in general, he's fairly aloof, right? If you see what's happening in the book so far, only after Shaska's come in and started visiting customers with him that the customers are more engaged with him, right? Like Darcy, he wouldn't have such a long conversation with him, and you'll see other customers as well. Uh,
Is this a meeting?
so it's difficult difficult to say, but so I mean, so Meenakshi made an important point here, right? Around having I mean, both of them have a problem, right? Psychological problem, right? And this word, has come up a lot, especially after COVID, mental health, right? And sometimes you see certain signs and you don't act and it starts to get worse, right? So I think the suggestions that you all had that they need to say a psychologist. I mean, I personally agree with that. And but the point I wanted to make was that after COVID, this thing about mental health has come up a lot because of we were not interacting that much, and a lot of screen time and not interacting with people, and so it has impact. It had an impact on everybody, right? And so it's important that besides physical health, we are very, very aware of our mental health as well. Right? So, when you start to feel not so good, right? Like, like Meenakshi said, I mean, Effie, maybe she's liking this thing, it's at some level. She's liking this thing and she's liking her sad life and she's just become like that. So, which is not the way to be, right? Because she can contribute, she can, feel happy. So, I think, the point I want to make was that we have to be very cognizant, we have to recognize our mental health. It's very, very, it's very important that if we not feeling good, we should talk to people. You saw in the video last time, right? Uh, Antara was, her mother had brought her up in a way that she could speak to people. She was able to understand what's happening, what is happening to her, and she was able to talk to people. So being able to talk to people and sharing, what you're feeling is very, very important. That's the first step of ensuring that your problem gets solved, right? Quite clearly, Effie is not talking to anybody, and Matthias has a problem, right? I mean, he has a problem, uh, which has become bigger and bigger and bigger, and without any interventions, he's reached this stage and she's reached this stage. So we just have to be very, very careful of our own mental health, and if some of you have attended sessions with Krista, it's a very simple way. If you're not feeling good, then you just go back and try and figure out what is the thought that's not making you feel good, right? And thought is coming from mind and consciousness, and that's creating the thought. So there'll be a track, right, which you can which you can follow. And if you're able to do that, then you're able to understand why you're feeling what you're feeling and then how to deal with that. So it's very important that you're feeling good all the time. That to me is the most important thing. You must feel good all the time. If you're not feeling good, try and track in your mind why you're not feeling good, and you will figure out a way to start to feel good, right? It could be an issue you're facing and you have to deal with the problem, or whatever solution has to be there, you deal with that and move on, right? So 11:33, Manisha, you want to make a comment on what you said and then take over from here? Manisha, you put something out on the chat. You want to just say it, talk about it?
It was all about, am I audible?
Yeah.
It was about students' confusion. So I just wanted to say that, yes, the book is not sad. It is all about life skills. So life skills is very much important nowadays. Your emotional health, your physical health, not only that, other things are also important. So we need to take care of ourselves in all the aspects. So in case you are having some doubt, confide in somebody, let everyone know that, not everyone, like a few people, those you are confident about, just let them know, yes, there is a problem and they are going to help you out. There may be some teacher, maybe some adult at home, and maybe somebody else in the school who will actually want to help you out. So take help, don't misunderstand and judge people, and take care of your health properly. That was one question about the sadness. Second question I answered was about the girl. So the girl is very good about interpersonal skills. Sashka, when we talk about her, her interpersonal skills was very good. So even few of us, like the adults, they don't know how to interact with each other. We just read out our mind aloud, but at some particular time we get confused because we don't get the answers as the way we wanted to. So here the little girl, she is very good at interpersonal skills. Not only she was able to understand the requirement of people, and she wanted to help them out to the fullest as per her own understanding. So even Carl was not able to understand other people, but yes, at one particular time she was able. Yes, sir. Over to you.
I went on mute. Yeah, no, I think we are 11:35. You can start your reading.
Sure, sir. ओके क्या कोई मुझे बता सकता है कौन सा चैप्टर पढ़ रहे थे पिछली बार? किताब का नाम याद है आपको?
हम देख रहे थे सपने देखना।
सपने देखना। तो सपने हम कैसे देख रहे थे? कैसे देख सकते हैं हम सपने? जागते हुए, सोते हुए, How can we see?
हम जागते हुए।
जागते हुए, सोते हुए सपने नहीं देखते हम। बताइए, सोते हुए देखते हैं, जागते हुए देखते हैं?
मैम दोनों तरीके से देखते हैं।
ओके, तो दोनों के बीच का डिफरेंस क्या है?
मैम जो हम जागते हुए देखते हैं हम उनकी वजह से सो नहीं सकते, और जो हम सोते हुए देखते हैं जो हम सोते हुए देखते हैं वो हम पूरे नहीं करते, पर जो हम जागते हुए देखते हैं उनके लिए हमारे अंदर जुनून होता है पूरा करने का।
You hit the jackpot. जो हम जागते हुए देखते हैं उनके कारण हम सो नहीं सकते। I really loved it. Thank you so much. Reed, you wanted to say something? You raise your hand.
यस मैम, एक्चुअली जो सपने हम जागते हुए देखते हैं वो हम अपने कॉन्शियस माइंड से देखते हैं, एंड जो सपने हम सोते हुए देखते हैं वो हमारे सबकॉन्शियस माइंड की वजह से।
Lovely, wonderful. और कोई कुछ कहना चाहेगा इस बारे में? जागते सोते हुए सपने। तो अब सपनों के बाद ही हमारा अगला चैप्टर शुरू हो रहा है, अपनी रुचि के अनुसार व्यवसाय चुनो। सो व्यवसाय, रुचि, आप इससे क्या समझ सक रहे हैं? लाइक आपके अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या है ये दो शब्दों के बारे में?
What we like to do is रुचि।
Okay, what you like to do, that is ruchi. And व्यवसाय?
Kind of job or business।
करेक्ट। सो व्यवसाय यहाँ बिजनेस से नहीं बोला गया, यहाँ व्यवसाय बोला गया जो आप काम करना चाहते हैं। तो हम जो भी काम करना चाहते हैं वो हमारे रुचि के अनुसार हो, दैट मीन्स हमारे इंटरेस्ट के एंड स्किल्स के अनुसार हो, तो वो बेटर होगा। अगर हम कोई काम करते हैं बिना इंटरेस्ट के, तो it's like we be torturing ourselves. It's a kind of torture to ourselves. So we should do some kind of work which we love, we have interest and appropriate skills for that. So स्टीव जॉब्स ने यहाँ बहुत ही प्यार से, बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से कहा है, आपका काम आपके जीवन के एक बड़े हिस्से को भरेगा और पूर्ण रूप से संतुष्ट होने का एक ही तरीका है, आप वही करें जो आपके अनुसार एक बढ़िया काम है। बढ़िया काम करने का एक ही तरीका है कि आप जो भी काम करें उससे प्यार करें। अगर आपको अभी तक ऐसा काम नहीं मिला है तो ढूंढते रहिए। यस बेटा, somebody want to say something here?
No, carry on, Manisha.
अगर आपको अभी तक ऐसा काम नहीं मिला है तो ढूंढते रहिए, रुकिए मत। जैसे कि दिल के सभी मामलों के साथ होता है, जब ऐसा काम आपको मिलेगा तब आपको पता चल जाए। बहुत ही खूबसूरत तरीके से स्टीव जॉब्स ने यहाँ हमें समझाया है कि हमें किस तरीके से आगे बढ़ना है और किस तरीके से संतुष्टि प्राप्त करना, उसके लिए हमें अपने इंटरेस्ट के हिसाब से अपने काम को चुनना चाहिए। बच्चों को अक्सर उनके व्यवसाय को चुनने में सलाह दी जाती है। भारत में माध्यमिक शिक्षा के स्तर में ही माता पिता यह सलाह देने लगते हैं। अक्सर किसी भी परामर्श के अंत में 6ठी या 7वीं कक्षा के बच्चे के माता पिता यह कहते सुने जाएंगे कि डॉक्टर कृपया हमारे बेटे से कहिए कि उसे अब तक निश्चय कर लेना चाहिए कि वह बड़ा होकर क्या बनेगा। वैसे ही बहुत देर हो चुकी है, उसकी कक्षा के कितने सारे बच्चों ने अपने व्यवसाय चुन लिए। आपने तो हमारे बच्चों की उम्र में अपना व्यवसाय चुन भी लिया होगा। इस तरह विपरीत विचारों के माता पिता की बातों में फंसकर मैं अक्सर जवाब देता हूँ, आजकल करियर के इतने सारे विकल्प है और यह चुनाव करने में समय लगता है कि आपको क्या करने में आनंद आता है। मुझे यकीन है कि वह जल्दी ही निर्णय ले लेंगे। नवी कक्षा में अक्सर बच्चों को स्कूल में एक थका देने वाला दिन बिताने के बाद कोचिंग के लिए भेज दिया जाता है, ताकि वह किसी नामी इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज, मेडिकल कॉलेज या लॉ स्कूल में प्रवेश ले सके। यह किशोर 4 साल तक मेरिट लिस्ट में आने के लिए मेहनत करते हैं, लेकिन बहुत कम बच्चे सफल हो पाते हैं। हजारों निराश होते हैं। कई बच्चे अपने स्कोर को और अच्छा बनाने के लिए एक और साल मेहनत करने का निर्णय लेते हैं। मुझे तो शक है कि बहुतों को अपना नाम मेरिट लिस्ट में नहीं पाकर बड़ा चैन पड़ता होगा, क्योंकि वे शायद इंजीनियरिंग, मेडिकल या लॉ करना ही नहीं चाहते। उन्होंने इतने साल कोचिंग इसलिए झेली क्योंकि ये अपने माता पिता से यह नहीं कह पाए कि वे अपने दिल की सुनना चाहते हैं और कोई और व्यवसाय चुनना चाहते हैं। कई बच्चों में इतना साहस ही नहीं था कि वे अपने माता पिता को बता पाए कि उन्होंने अभी तक अपने लिए कोई व्यवसाय चुना ही नहीं है। उन्होंने सबसे आसान रास्ता चुना। आखिर यह किसने कह दिया कि आपको 14, 16 या 18 साल की उम्र में निर्णय लेना है? कैन यू रिलेट एनीवन? क्या आप रिलेट कर पा रहे हैं जो अभी तक हमने पढ़ा? 6, 7, 8 से ही आपको बोला जाता होगा स्कूल में या घर में कि अब सीरियस हो जाओ, सिंसियर हो जाओ अपने करियर के लिए, आगे क्या पढ़ना है, कैसे पढ़ना है, कोचिंग में आपको एडमिशन लेना है, इसलिए अभी से ही आपको शुरू होना है। आप रिलेट कर पा रहे हैं इसको? कोई कुछ कहना चाहेगा? यस, काजल। यस मैम, बताइए मयंक, आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं? आप रिलेट कर पा रहे हैं इसलिए आपने यस बोला, तो आप क्या रिलेट कर पा रहे हैं? ऑलवेज से, ओके। पेरेंट्स बोलते हैं कि टीचर्स बोलते हैं? कौन बोलता है ऐसा?
पेरेंट्स मैम,
अच्छा।
टीचर्स आल्सो, बोथ।
अच्छा, टीचर्स ऑल्सो। तो अब आप क्या बोलेंगे? इस चैप्टर को ध्यान से सुनिए और आप समझिए इस चैप्टर को क्या बोला जा रहा है, और उस हिसाब से आप टीचर्स को और पेरेंट्स को अपना जवाब दीजिए।
I want to speak.
ओके। उनका क्या जिन्हें प्रमुख व्यवसायिक कॉलेजों में प्रवेश मिल गया? क्या जो कोर्स वे कर रहे थे उसमें उन्हें सचमुच दिलचस्पी थी? मेरे कुछ ऐसे मित्र हैं जो बहुत ही बुद्धिमान थे और जो एक प्रमुख मेडिकल कॉलेज और एक अच्छे इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज दोनों की ही मेरिट लिस्ट में आ गया। उन्होंने मेडिसिन को चुना क्योंकि इसे भारत में बहुत ही शालीन व्यवसाय माना जाता है, या फिर उनके माता पिता में से कोई एक या दोनों ही डॉक्टर थे। 2 दशक बाद जब मैं उनसे मिलता हूँ और नई तकनीक के बारे में बात करते समय जब मैं उनकी आंखों में वो चमक देखता हूँ, तो मैं इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज की जगह मेडिकल कॉलेज में जाने की उनके अफसोस को महसूस कर सकता हूँ। वे बहुत ही सफल डॉक्टर्स थे, लेकिन अगर वे इंजीनियर बन जाते तो क्या होता? शायद वे किसी ऐसे आविष्कार को अंजाम देते जिसका प्रभाव बहुत बड़ा होता, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं हुआ, सिर्फ इसलिए कि उन्होंने वह व्यवसाय चुना ही नहीं जो उनके लिए था। कई बार अपने दिल की सुनना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है और अनेक चुनौतियों के चलते उसमें अड़चने आ जाती हैं, जैसे परिवार का दबाव, वित्तीय परिस्थितियां, असफलता का डर, अपनी सहूलियतों को छोड़ने का संकोच और उम्र का तकाजा। कई बार तो अपनी उम्र के चलते बदलाव के बारे में सोच ही नहीं सकते। लेकिन एल्बर्ट श्वीजर ऐसे नहीं थे। वे अलग थे। उनका जन्म फ्रांस में पादरियों, शिक्षकों और संगीतकारों के परिवार में हुआ था। एल्बर्ट ने 5 साल की उम्र में संगीत में रुचि दिखानी शुरू कर दी। उन्होंने पियानो बजाना सीखा, लेकिन ऑर्गन उन्हें ज्यादा आकर्षित करता था। जब वे सिर्फ 8 साल के थे, तब उन्होंने चर्च का ऑर्गन बजाना शुरू कर दिया। 18 साल की उम्र में उन्होंने ईश्वरीय ज्ञान, दर्शन और संगीत सीखने के लिए यूनिवर्सिटी में प्रवेश किया। कॉलेज में से सर्वोत्तम रहे और उन्होंने ईश्वरीय ज्ञान में डॉक्टरेट करी। वह पादरी बन गए और उन्होंने 2 किताबें लिखी, मिस्ट्री ऑफ द किंगडम ऑफ गॉड और J.S. वैक ले म्यूजिशियन पोएटो, जो जोहान सेबास्टियन बैक के जीवन का अध्ययन है, जिसमें वह बहुत लोकप्रिय हो गए। उन्हें वक्ता और ऑर्गन बजाने वाले के रूप में अनेक निमंत्रण मिलने लगे। 30 साल की उम्र में उन्होंने यह कहकर अपने परिवार और मित्रों को आश्चर्यचकित कर दिया कि वह मेडिकल स्कूल में प्रवेश लेने वाले हैं। उन्होंने फ्रेंच इक्वेटोरियल अफ्रीका के लोगों की सेवा में अपना जीवन समर्पित करने का निश्चय किया। मैं एक डॉक्टर बनना चाहता हूँ ताकि मैं बिना बोले भी काम कर सकूं। मैंने वर्षों तक शब्दों के माध्यम से काम किया है, उन्होंने कहा। 38 साल की उम्र में 7 साल तक डॉक्टर बनने के मेडिकल प्रशिक्षण लेने के बाद वह अपनी पत्नी हेलेन, जो एक नर्स थी, के साथ अफ्रीका के लिए रवाना हो गए। भूमध्य रेखा से कुछ मील दूर लम्ब्रेन के जंगल में उन्होंने अपना एक छोटा सा स्वास्थ्य केंद्र खोला। इस प्रांगण को बड़ी ही सादगी से बनाया था और उद्देश्य था साधारण लोगों को आसान तरीके से उपचार की आवश्यकता पूरी करना। वहां की जलवायु प्रतिकूल थी, संसाधन सीमित थे और जरूरतें बहुत अधिक। बीमारी का फैलाव बहुत ज्यादा था। कुछ ही महीनों में उन्होंने 2000 मरीज देख लिए थे। प्रथम विश्व युद्ध के दौरान स्वीजर और हेलेन की बंदी बना लिया गया। जेल से छूटने के बाद एल्बर्ट ने यूरोप में ऑर्गन की प्रस्तुतियां देकर अस्पताल के लिए पूंजी जमा की। स्वयंसेवी नर्सें और अन्य डॉक्टर्स अपनी सेवाएं देने के लिए उनके साथ जुड़ गए। जैसे जैसे उन्होंने अस्पताल में दी जाने वाली उत्कृष्ट सेवा के बारे में प्रशंसा फैलाने लगी, मरीज कई घंटों की यात्रा करके इलाज के लिए आने लगे। उनके द्वारा दिया जाने वाला उपचार देश में सर्वोत्तम उपचार माना जाता था। स्वीजर ने जिन लोगों की सेवा की, उन्होंने जीवन को बहुत प्रभावित भी किया। बहुत से लोगों के लिए वही एकमात्र आशा की किरणें थी। उनके काम ने दुनिया भर के लोगों का ध्यान आकर्षित किया और कई लोगों को उनका अनुसरण करने के लिए प्रेरित किया। आने वाले सालों में एल्बर्ट स्वीजर अस्पताल का बहुत विस्तार हुआ और उनके स्तर भवन 350 बिस्तर और एक कुष्ठ रोग गांव स्थापित हो गया। यह अस्पताल हर साल करीब 30,000 मरीजों का इलाज करता था। स्वीजर को अनेक डिग्रियां, उद्धरणों, स्टैंपों और मेडलों और नोबेल शांति पुरस्कार से सम्मानित किया गया। लेकिन लोकप्रियता से प्रभावित नहीं होने वाले स्वीजर को स्वयं प्रत्यक्ष होकर नोबेल शांति पुरस्कार स्वीकार करने में 2 साल लग गए। 90 साल की उम्र में भी दूसरों की सेवा करने का उनका संकल्प उतना ही दृढ़ था जितना कि 30 की उम्र में था। उन्होंने एक बार कहा था, तुम्हें अपने साथियों को अपने समय में से थोड़ा समय जरूर देना चाहिए, चाहे वह कोई छोटी सी ही चीज क्यों न ले। ऐसी कोई चीज जिनके लिए तुम्हें कोई पगार नहीं मिले, लेकिन उससे करने का गौरव। स्वीजर एक संगीतकार, लेखक और प्रवक्ता थे। वह एक ईश्वरीय ज्ञान के ज्ञाता, दार्शनिक और विचारक थे। वह एक निर्माता, वास्तुशास्त्री और प्रशासक थे। वह एक दवा बनाने वाले, मनोवैज्ञानिक और उन सबसे ऊपर एक अच्छे डॉक्टर थे। उनमें अपने व्यवसाय को पा लेने का विश्वास था और अनेक चुनौतियों के विरुद्ध उनके प्रति अपने जीवन को समर्पित करने का साहस भी था, जिसमें 30 की उम्र में मेडिकल कॉलेज जाना शामिल है, जो करने के लिए बहुत से लोग खुद को रोकते थे। अगर 30 तक निराश करने वाली उम्र है तो कल्पना कीजिए करीब 70 की उम्र में एक जमे जमाए व्यवसाय को छोड़ देना कैसा हो। 69 साल की उम्र में भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद ने इंटरनेशनल सोसाइटी फॉर कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस को यूएस में स्थापित करने का निश्चय किया। अगले 10 साल तक उन्होंने विश्व की कम से कम 12 यात्राएं की और विश्व भर में इस्कॉन के केंद्र और विश्व के सबसे बड़े शाकाहारी भोजन राहत प्रोग्राम शुरू किया। हमेशा यह सिखाया जाता है कि सफलता के लिए उत्तम शिक्षा की आवश्यकता होती है, लेकिन ऐसे अनेक लोगों की उपलब्धियां जिन्होंने गैर पारंपरिक व्यवसाय के मार्ग को चुना, इस विचार का खंडन करती। साइचिरो होंडा मोटर कंपनी के संस्थापक ने एक बार ये कहा था, एक डिप्लोमा की डिग्री एक पिक्चर की टिकट से भी कम होती है। होंडा अपने निजी अनुभव के आधार पर बोल रहे थे। तो अब तक आपको क्या समझ में आया? क्या कोई कहना चाहेगा? आप मैसेज भी कर सकते हैं अगर आप बोलना नहीं चाह रहे तो। ओके, आई चेंज माय क्वेश्चन कि आप जानते हैं किसी को जो पहले अपने करियर में, अपने जॉब प्रोफाइल में कुछ और करता था और बाद में वो कुछ और करना शुरू कर दिया क्योंकि उसे वो व्यवसाय, वो काम पसंद नहीं आया?
यस मैम।
ओके, कौन है वो?
मैम एक्चुअली जो मेरे बिग ब्रदर हैं वो पहले एक जॉब करते थे बट उनका इंटरेस्ट उसमें नहीं था, उनका इंटरेस्ट कुकिंग में था, तो फिर अब वो एक शेफ है।
ओह वाह, लवली काजल। एंड आपको तो फिर अपने ब्रदर से इंस्पायर हो करके इन्फॉर्म चॉइसेस के साथ अपनी पढ़ाई को आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए, क्योंकि आप लकी हो कि उन्होंने आपको रास्ता दिखाया। और कोई कुछ कहना चाहेगा इस मामले में? कोई जानता है किसी को जो किसी और बिजनेस या जॉब या प्रोफेशन में था और बाद में उन्होंने चेंज किया?
Ma'am, I
No, ma'am.
myself,
यस,
Shahana this side from Vimukti, ma'am.
यस मैम,
Uh,
प्लीज टेल।
Ma'am, I always wanted to become a fighter pilot. I had done my 40 launches as a air wing cadet, and I took my glider 10,000 feet above the sky. But today, like due to circumstances, I could not go ahead. And today, my profession is totally opposite. But I feel proud to say that yes, it is like more than what I wanted to become, because I'm in a profession where I am imparting my knowledge to the girls who really need me actually. So no regrets, but yes, what I wanted to become. So it's destiny what you become actually.
थैंक यू सो मच फॉर शेयरिंग मैम। एक और उपलब्धि आपके साथ ऐड हो गई, हमें पता भी नहीं था आपके बारे में।
Yes, ma'am. So I always tell my children that you should never regret for anything, but whatever happens, it happens for good. So
वेरी
I have
ट्रू।
realized now actually, ma'am.
सो जो भगवान हमारे लिए आगे लेकर के आते हैं फ्लैटर में लेके, दैट इज मच बेटर देन व्हाट वी हैव टू ऑफर आवरसेल्फ। आई टोटली एग्री विद यू।
True, ma'am.
मयंक, आपने हाथ उठाया है, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my uncle want to become a doctor, but now he is become a businessman because some.
नाइस। ओके, तो वो डॉक्टर बनना चाहते थे और अब वो
Yes.
बिजनेसमैन बन गए हैं, दैट इज गुड। ठीक है, अब आगे बढ़ते हैं चैप्टर में, देखते हैं हमें और क्या बताया जा रहा है उसमें। होंडा का जन्म एक छोटे से गांव में हुआ था, जहां उनके पिता एक लोहार का काम करते थे और साइकिल की मरम्मत भी करते थे। होंडा को अपने पिता की मदद करने में बहुत आनंद आता था, लेकिन उन्हें स्कूल का काम बिल्कुल भी पसंद नहीं था। एक बार अपनी खराब स्कूल रिपोर्ट कार्ड पर हस्ताक्षर करने की शर्म से अपने परिवार को बचाने के लिए उन्होंने साइकिल के पेडल के कवर से एक स्टैम्प बनाया। ऐसे ही अनेक नकली स्टैम्प उन्होंने दूसरे बच्चों के लिए भी बनाया, जिसके लिए वो पकड़े गए और उन्हें सजा भी हुई। जब वह बहुत छोटे थे तो एक बार उनके गांव से गुजरी एक कार उनके गांव से गुजरी। वह कार के पीछे दौड़े और कार द्वारा पीछे गिराए गए तेल में अपना हाथ डाल दिया। कई साल बाद होंडा ने याद करते हुए कहा, मैं उसमें से निकलने वाले तेल की गंध को कभी नहीं भूल पाया। उस दिन एक छोटे से लड़के ने अपने व्यवसाय की पुकार को समझा। सोइचिरो होंडा ऑटोमोबाइल बनाना चाहते थे। 15 साल की उम्र में उन्होंने टोक्यो में एक ऑटोमोबाइल वर्कशॉप में एक प्रशिक्षार्थी के रूप में काम करना शुरू किया। 6 साल तक वह एक मैकेनिक के रूप में काम करते रहे और इंजन के बारे में जितना कुछ भी सीख सकते थे सीख लिया। फिर वह गैराज खोलने के लिए हामामात्सु चले गए, जो कि बहुत ही लोकप्रिय हुआ, लेकिन मन ही मन में वह ऑटोमोबाइल बनाना चाहते थे। उन्होंने मेटल पिस्टन बनाने का काम शुरू करके निर्माण के क्षेत्र में प्रवेश किया। शुरू में यह काम ज्यादा सफल नहीं हुआ, लेकिन उन्होंने एक तकनीकी संस्थान में प्रवेश लेकर मेटलर्जी सीखने का निश्चय किया। उन्होंने अपनी पढ़ाई पूरी की, लेकिन कॉलेज छोड़ दिया क्योंकि उन्होंने परीक्षा देने से इनकार कर दिया था। उनका मानना था कि इंजीनियरिंग मात्र कोई प्रायोगिक विज्ञान नहीं था, यह तो कल्पना का साकार और उपयोगी स्वरूप था। कई प्रयोगों के बाद उन्होंने उत्तम पिस्टन रिंग्स बना लिया, लेकिन वे वास्तव में जो करना चाहते थे वह था कार बनाना। द्वितीय विश्व युद्ध के बाद जब जापान की अर्थव्यवस्था नीचे गिरने लगी, तो वे फिर से कारों की मरम्मत करने के काम पर लौट आए। उन्होंने अपने काम पर रेलगाड़ी से जाना पसंद नहीं था और साइकिल की गति बहुत धीमी थी, इसलिए उन्होंने एक छोटी सी सस्ती मोटरसाइकिल बनाई। एक स्थानीय व्यापारी ताके फुजीसामा को इस मोटरसाइकिल में बहुत रुचि उत्पन्न हुई और उन्होंने होंडा की मदद करने का निश्चय किया। इस प्रकार होंडा मोटर कंपनी का जन्म। यह विश्व की सबसे बड़ी मोटरसाइकिल निर्माता बनी, जो हर महीने 1 मिलियन इकाइयों का उत्पादन करती थी। लेकिन होंडा संतुष्ट नहीं थे, क्योंकि उनका सपना अभी भी वही था। वह कार बनाने का प्रस्ताव लेके अंतरराष्ट्रीय व्यापार और उद्यम मंत्रालय गए और उनसे कहा गया कि उन्हें मोटरसाइकिल ही बनाते रहना चाहिए, क्योंकि कुछ गिने चुने निर्माता ही मंत्रालय की कार बनाने की योजना का हिस्सा थे। लेकिन होंडा ने इस न को स्वीकार नहीं किया। उन्होंने यूएस के बाजार पर अपना ध्यान केंद्रित करके जापान और यूएस के ऑटो निर्माताओं को अचंभित कर दिया। होंडा यूएस में कार बनाने वाली पहले जापानी कंपनी बने। उनके साथ टोयोटा और निशान आए। होंडा मोटर कंपनी घनफल की दृष्टि से अंतर दहन वाला इंजन बनाने वाली सबसे बड़ी और जापान की दूसरी सबसे बड़ी ऑटो निर्माता कंपनी बन गई। होंडा को जापान के सबसे उच्च सम्मान ब्लू रिबन से सम्मानित किया गया। उन्हें मिशिगन टेक्निकल यूनिवर्सिटी और ओहियो स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटी से ऑनरी डॉक्टरेट प्राप्त हुई। उनके नाम पर 470 आविष्कार और 150 पेटेंट थे। हालांकि उनके पास किसी भी यूनिवर्सिटी का डिप्लोमा नहीं था। वे माता पिता जिनके बच्चों को पढ़ाई में रुचि नहीं है, उनके लिए सोइचिरो होंडा का जीवन शक्ति का एक महान स्रोत है। खासकर भारत में हम जरूरत से ज्यादा शिक्षा पर जोर देते। नंदिनी और मैं नहीं चाहते थे कि देवांग को भी इन सभी परेशानियों को झेलना पड़े, जो हमारे कुछ मित्रों के बच्चों को झेलनी पड़ी। जब वह 16 साल का हुआ, तो हमने उसे सलाह दी कि उसे एक काउंसलर के पास जाना चाहिए और एक साइकोमेट्रिक टेस्ट लेना चाहिए। इस परामर्श का टेस्ट का उद्देश्य था कि अपने उस करियर की राह को चुनने में मदद करना जिसमें उसकी रुचि थी, क्योंकि 3000 से भी ज्यादा करियर विकल्पों में से चुनाव करना एक दिमाग को हैरान करने वाला काम हो सकता है। हम अक्सर अपने बच्चों से यह नहीं पूछते कि उन्हें क्या करना पसंद है। हम उनसे उनके व्यवसाय के बारे में तो बात करते हैं, लेकिन उनकी पसंद और जुनून के बारे में नहीं। हम उस भाव को दोबारा जगाना ही नहीं चाहते जो थॉमस एडिसन के मन में था, जब उन्होंने कहा था, मैंने अपने जीवन में एक भी दिन काम नहीं किया, मेरे लिए तो सब कुछ मस्ती जैसा था। हम अपने बच्चों को उन रिश्तेदारों का उदाहरण देते हैं जो सफल हो चुके हैं और उन्हें उन लोगों का अनुसरण करने के लिए जोर देते हैं। हम ये भूल जाते हैं कि बच्चे ये बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं करते कि उनकी तुलना किसी के साथ की जाए। तुम्हें अपने चचेरे या मैं मेरे भाई जैसा डॉक्टर बनना चाहिए, या तुम अपने भाई जैसा इंजीनियर बन सकते हो। इस प्रकार के वाक्य बच्चों पर उल्टा प्रभाव डालते हैं और उन्हें उसके ठीक विपरीत करने की दिशा में ले जाते हैं। रिश्तेदारों की बजाय हमें बच्चों के आदर्श के बारे में बात करनी चाहिए। सभी बच्चे ये पसंद करते हैं जब हम उनके आदर्श या रोल मॉडल के बारे में बातचीत करते हैं। हम उनसे ये बच्चा भर सकते हैं, यदि तुम शाकिल ओनील, क्रिश्चियन याचो, रोनाल्डो, जेल्फ एम्बलेट, अमर्त्य सेन या किसी भी अन्य व्यक्ति की तरह सफल होना चाहते हो, तो तुम्हें अपने पसंद का व्यवसाय पहचानना हो। हमें अपने बच्चों को ये एहसास दिलाना होगा कि उनके हीरो ने जो कुछ भी हासिल किया है, उसे वह सिर्फ इसलिए हासिल कर पाए क्योंकि उनके लिए उनका व्यवसाय उनका जुनून था और काम उनके लिए आनंद था। माता पिता जब अपने बच्चों से इस बारे में खुलकर बात करेंगे कि वे वास्तव में क्या करना चाहते हैं, तो उन्हें बहुत आश्चर्य होगा। बल्कि माता पिता को उन चुनावों के बारे में सुनने के लिए तैयार रहना चाहिए जो सुनने में डरावने लगे। खैर, क्या झटके लगना माता पिता के व्यवसाय का एक हिस्सा नहीं है? मेरे क्लिनिक में कुछ ऐसे लोकप्रिय लोगों की तस्वीरें लगी हुई है जिन्होंने इन सालों में रोगों के बारे में जागरूकता पैदा करने में मेरे काम में मेरी सहायता की। कुछ साल पहले एक 13 साल की लड़की लीशा एक नायिका की तस्वीर के सामने रुककर बोली, पता है डॉक्टर सिब्बल, एक दिन जब मैं सुपरस्टार बन जाऊंगी ना, तब आप मेरी भी तस्वीर अपने क्लिनिक में लगाएंगे। उसकी माँ दिव्या बहुत आश्चर्यचकित हो गई। मैं आपको कुछ सालों बाद बताने वाली थी कि मेरा सपना है एक सुपरस्टार बनना, उस किशोरी ने समझाया। अब जब भी नन्ही इलिशा परामर्श के लिए आती है, वह अपने सपने के बारे में बात करती है। इलिशा भाग्यशाली है, उसके माता पिता उसका समर्थन करते हैं। वे उसे उसका व्यवसाय पाने में मदद करेंगे, लेकिन कई माता पिता ऐसे नहीं करते। एल्बर्ट श्वीजर, एसी भक्ति वेदांत, स्वामी प्रभुपाद और साइचिरो होट्टा वह सब प्राप्त कर पाए जो उन्होंने किया, क्योंकि उनका एक ही कारण था, उन्होंने अपने पसंद के व्यवसाय को ढूंढ लिया। हमें भी अपने बच्चों की मदद करनी चाहिए और उन्हें उनके व्यवसाय के राह पर अग्रसर करना चाहिए। हर कोई अपनी परिस्थिति से ऊपर उठ सकता है और सफलता प्राप्त कर सकता है, अगर उसमें जो कुछ भी वो करता है उसके प्रति समर्पण और जुनून। नेल्सन मंडेला। तो इस बात से हमें क्या समझ में आया? कुछ समझ में आया इस पाठ से हमें? यस एवरीवन? बेटा कुछ समझ में आया इस पाठ से? हाँ काजल, मयंक। मयंक पहले बताएं आप, क्या समझ में आया आपको?
मैम हम लोग को मैम टाइम से पहले अपना व्यवसाय चुन लेना चाहिए, किस फील्ड में हम लोग को जाना है।
ओके।
और
कैसे चुनना चाहिए हमें?
मैम हम लोग को मतलब उस फील्ड में जो भी हो रहा है, मतलब
ओके, उस फील्ड में तो उसकी जानकारी आप हमें कहाँ से मिलेगी?
मैम वो पढ़ के स्कूल से, कॉलेज से।
ओके, और कहाँ से मिल सकती है?
मैम काउंसलर के पास भी मिल सकती है।
जी हाँ, आप ब्लेस्ड है कि आपके स्कूल में काउंसलर्स हैं, इसलिए आप उनसे हेल्प ले सकते हैं। और कुछ लोगों के स्कूल में काउंसलर्स नहीं होते, तो वो कहाँ से हेल्प लेंगे?
मैम वो लोग अपने टीचर्स, एल्डर्स या किसी से।
वेरी गुड। तो वो परामर्श हमेशा ले सकते हैं। और करियर चूज करने के लिए हमें किन किन चीजों की जरूरत है?
हम लोग को
नो प्रॉब्लम। खुशी, आपने हाथ उठाया है। खुशी, आप कहना चाहेंगे? ओके। वेदा, यश, वेदा आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे? यश?
मोहम्मद वाहिद ने बहुत
हाँ,
अच्छी तरह
मोहम्मद
से
वाहिद,
लिखा
आप
है
कुछ कहना
चैट
चाहेंगे?
बहुत।
यस, यू आर ऑडिबल बेटा।
हमें हमेशा अपने एक ही गाइड पे फोकस करना चाहिए, जो हमारा गोल है, जो हम चाहते हैं बनना, जो हमारी हॉबी है, हमें हमेशा उसमें फोकस करना
ट्रू।
चाहिए। अगर आप जब आप करते जो चीज़ आपको पसंद है, तो आप कभी अपने गोल्स पे फोकस नहीं कर पाते। अगर आप इस तरह से डॉक्टर बनना तो नहीं कर सकते।
वेरी
आप
नाइस।
अपने काम से प्यार नहीं करते तो आप इस तरीके से
मोहम्मद वाहिद? बेटा थोड़ा जोर से बोलिए।
to choose a career, we should try to get an understanding of our career options. Like we should get an understanding and not just be like, I want to do this, and think will instantly be able to do that. We need to work hard for it and try to learn, get as far as we can, so that we can actually
Okay,
get
that
our
was
career.
wonderful, Wahid. Could you please let me know what are your interests and hobbies?
My interests and hobbies are like book writing and playing badminton.
Okay, so nice. So book writing चूंकि आपकी इंटरेस्ट है तो आपने हमें कुछ रिफ्लेक्शन पॉइंट्स लिख के भेजे हैं। आपने हमें रिफ्लेक्शन लिख के भेजे हैं हमारे लेसन्स पे, चैप्टर्स पे।
Not really, but I have written books myself.
अच्छा, you've written book yourself. Why don't you send a copy to us? We'll love to publish them
Okay, ma'am.
on a website. And आज के सेशन भी भेज सकते हैं हमें।
So, ma'am, your voice cracked a little for a second. Could you repeat that?
आप आज के सेशन पे अपने जो आपके मन में भाव आ रहे हैं आप राइट अप लिख के मुझे भेज सकते हैं। मेरा ईमेल आईडी अपने टीचर से ले लीजिएगा एंड वी लव टू पब्लिश योर आइडियाज।
Okay, ma'am.
लवली लवली टॉकिंग टू यू। अभिमान, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
Ma'am, we should always decide our career by our own.
बेटा अभी आप छोटे हैं बहुत करियर के बारे में बात करने के लिए। आप अपने इंटरेस्ट और हॉबीज के बारे में बताएं मुझे, क्योंकि हमने जैसे चैप्टर में भी पढ़ा है जल्दी से करियर नहीं चूज करना है, बहुत ज्यादा टाइम लगा के चूज करना है, जैसे बाद में हम रिग्रेट नहीं करें। तो हम आराम से करेंगे, पहले हम इंटरेस्ट और अपने हॉबीज को एनहांस करेंगे, अपने स्किल्स को डेवलप करेंगे एंड उसके बाद हम करियर के बारे में सोचेंगे। क्या पता आपके जो इंटरेस्ट एंड हॉबीज है उसमें से आपको कुछ करियर मिल जाए, क्योंकि किताब के हिसाब से हमें 3000 से ज्यादा करियर ऑप्शंस है, बट आज की डेट में हो सकता है इससे भी ज्यादा करियर ऑप्शंस है। मेन स्ट्रीम करियर ऑप्शंस के बारे में सबको पता है, बट बाकी का नहीं पता है, तो हम टाइम लेकर के करेंगे। थैंक यू। यश, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
My hobbies are that I like to play cricket and write books.
वाओ, सो नाइस। तो आपने तो अभी तक मुझे कुछ भी राइट नहीं भेजा। यश, प्लीज भेजिए जल्दी से। आई वुड लव टू
Okay, ma'am. I will
चेक
send.
दैट। ये दिख रहा है आपको मेरी स्क्रीन?
Yes, ma'am.
क्या दिख रहा है बेटा? मैंने हिंदी वर्ड रुचि को लिया है एक्रोनिम के हिसाब से, एंड रुचि का मतलब आर रियलाइज। यू हैव टू रियलाइज योर स्ट्रेंथ एंड इंटरेस्ट। देन यू इज अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट, हमें क्या अंडरस्टैंड करना है, वरियस करियर ऑप्शंस। फिर हमें कनेक्ट करना है, सी योर पैशन विद द प्रोफेशन। देन अपने स्किल्स को लर्निंग एंड प्रैक्टिस से उसको एनहांस करना है। नेक्स्ट इज इनिशिएट योर जर्नी विद कॉन्फिडेंस। सब कुछ करके चूज करके हमें इनिशिएट करना है एक बेटर टुमारो के लिए। कोई कुछ कहना चाहेगा इसके बारे में? Jugjiv sir, would you like to say something? Add something to it?
हाँ जी, हमने जो इकिगाई के सेशन में सीखा था, क्या सीखा था? यही सीखा था कि आपको अपने पैशन से शुरू करना है, देखना है आपको इंटरेस्ट किस चीज में है, किसमें आप अच्छा कर रहे हैं, व्हाट यू आर गुड एट, जो दुनिया को चाहिए, व्हाट द वर्ल्ड नीड्स एंड व्हाट यू विल गेट पेड फॉर। Right? That's how you will choose your career. What you like doing, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you'll get paid for. This is the heart of what we learned in Ikigai. Okay. So you have to start from where you, what your interests are, what your passions are. That's why Manisha is asking you, आपके interests क्या हैं, hobbies क्या हैं, passion वहां से आएगा।
This is what exactly. अब देखिए इकिगाई से ये चैप्टर कितना इजीली, दोनों के भाव मतलब एक ही है, बस बताने का तरीका अलग है। रुचि एक हिंदी वर्ड है जो हमारे आज के चैप्टर का क्या है, टाइटल क्या है हमारे आज के चैप्टर का? अपनी रुचि के अनुसार व्यवसाय चुनो। तो ये जो मैंने रुचि का एक्रोनिम बनाया है, ये हमारे चैप्टर से ही लिया हुआ है। अपनी रुचि के अनुसार व्यवसाय बनाओ, तो वहां से रुचि वर्ड मैंने लिया है, एंड RUCHI उसको इंग्लिश में कन्वर्ट करके। आई जस्ट वांटेड टू टेल यू बेटा, लैंग्वेजेस जो है उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग बेसिकली एक ही है। इंग्लिश हो चाहे हिंदी हो या कोई भी फॉरेन लैंग्वेज हो या इंडियन आपका वर्नाक्युलर्स हो, सब एक ही चीज है। आप किसी भी तरीके से उसको इंटीग्रेट कर सकते हैं और अपनी नॉलेज को एनहांस कर सकते हैं। हम हर सब्जेक्ट को सब्जेक्ट के हिसाब से पढ़ते हैं, हम उसके अंदर जो मीनिंग्स है उसको इंटीग्रेट नहीं करते हैं, एंड इसीलिए एग्जाम टाइम हमारे लिए बहुत डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है। हमें हमेशा ये फीलिंग मिलती है कि ये कितना डिफिकल्ट है, बिकॉज हम कनेक्शन नहीं कर पा रहे, हम अपने आप को उससे कनेक्ट फील नहीं कर रहे। तो किसी भी सब्जेक्ट को पढ़ने का सबसे अच्छा तरीका क्या है, उससे कनेक्शन फील करो, किसी भी चीज के एक्रोनिम्स बनाओ और लेटर्स को लेकर के और उसको आगे बढ़ाओ, अपने सब्जेक्ट को देखो, देन यू विल डू योर बेस्ट इन योर लाइफ एंड एवरीवेयर। नोट्स थोड़े छोटे छोटे बना के आगे बढ़िए।
Yeah, Rajvardhan wants to tell us about his hobbies.
एग्जैक्टली।
यस मैम, जैसे जो चीज जिस चीज में हम लोग को ज्यादा नॉलेज होता है, तो हम लोग वही चीज को हम लोग अपने करियर में ले सकते हैं। उस चीज को अपने ओपिनियन से, जिस चीज में सबसे ज्यादा नॉलेज है तो वो चीज को हम लोग को लेना चाहिए। क्योंकि जिस चीज में हम लोग को कोई नॉलेज नहीं है तो वो चीज में हम कुछ अच्छा नहीं कर पाएंगे या कुछ हम लोग खराब भी हो सकता है। तो जिस चीज में हम लोग को नॉलेज है, जैसे माई हॉबी इज लाइक माई हॉबी इज रीडिंग, सो माई हमको रीडिंग में नॉलेज है तो हम इसमें बेटर कर सकते हैं। तो जिस चीज में हम लोग को नॉलेज है उसी चीज को हम लोग को अपना करियर बनाना चाहिए।
बेटा नॉलेज एक
राजवर्धन,
इंटरेस्ट है।
राजवर्धन, आपके लिए छोटा सा होमवर्क है, ठीक है? नॉलेज और स्किल में क्या फर्क है ये आप अगली बार बता दिएगा मेरे को, ठीक है? नॉलेज और स्किल, ठीक है?
ओके सर, ओके सर।
नॉलेज जरूरी है, आपने सही कहा। कोई और, any other comment, anything that we've read today, anything else, any thoughts, any questions? कोई चीज आपको समझ नहीं आई हो तो आप पूछना चाहें, कोई सवाल हो आपके मन में, not necessarily related to what we read, anything else, any other issue? Yes, Veda.
सर मुझे होंडा के बारे में पता है, लाइक वो जब छोटा था तो उसके मम्मी पापा उससे दूर हो गए थे, मतलब तो वो अपने रिलेटिव के पास रहता था एंड ही वाज लाइक वेरी पुअर। तो उसने कभी गाड़ी नहीं देखी थी, तो व्हेन ही सी एंड उसको उसमें इंटरेस्ट आ गया और उसके पास कोई ऐसा था नहीं जो उसे फोर्स कर सके, बेटा तुम्हें इंजीनियरिंग लेनी है, बेटा तुम्हें IIT करना है। तो उसने अपने गोल पे फोकस किया और उसको कंटिन्यू किया एंड एट द लास्ट होंडा इज वेरी फेमस कंपनी।
हाँ, I mean, it can happen, right? कि आपको कोई फोर्स करे तो आपको उससे नफरत हो जाती है, हो सकता है तो ये दैट्स व्हाई ये एडवाइस डॉक्टर सिबिल की पेरेंट्स को है कि देखें कि बच्चे की इंटरेस्ट किस चीज में, उनका पैशन किस चीज में है। तो या हो सकता है जैसे आपने कहा, अगर कोई बोले यही करो तो आपको आपका आइडिया है उसको नहीं करना चाहिए। ह्यूमन माइंड वैसे ही चलता है, रिवर्स साइकोलॉजी चलती है बहुत बारी। तो मोहम्मद वाहिद फिर से पूछ रहा है एनकम्पस का मतलब क्या है? गूगल, गूगल जानते हो? आपने अमेजोन में बुक पब्लिश की है, गूगल तो जानते ही होंगे वाहिद। गूगल करो, डिक्शनरी है आपके पास?
यस सर।
हाँ, डिक्शनरी में देखो, गूगल करो, encompass is to surround something and something else being in the middle of it. That's sort of just conveying that idea. Encompass.
थैंक यू सर।
But you know,
या
you shouldn't wait so long. आपने पहले भी पूछा था, मैंने जान के जवाब नहीं दिया, तभी बोला कि आप खुद डिक्शनरी देखो, गूगल करो, क्योंकि हमको यही चाहिए कि क्योंकि जब कॉन्टेक्स्ट चला जाता है तो फिर मतलब का मीनिंग नहीं रहता ना, इसी समय मतलब पता चल जाए तो बेहतर रहता है। करेक्ट।
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, do you want to say something or shall I wind up?
Yes, we can wind up.
Okay, sir. Thank you everyone for joining. And आज के सेशन का जरूर कुछ ना कुछ टेक अवे होगा आपके लिए। हमने 2 किताबें पढ़ी, टू 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 बुक स्टोर और क्या आपका बच्चा दुनिया का सामना करने के लिए तैयार है, अपनी रुचि के अनुसार व्यवसाय चुन। तो आप लोगों का जो भी टेक अवे है हमारे दोनों बुक में से किसी भी एक बुक के ऊपर में आप प्लीज लिखिए। आपको सर ने दिखाया होगा कि रिफ्लेक्शन का मतलब हर समय राइटिंग नहीं होता, आप पिक्चर्स के हिसाब से डूडल करके, ऑडियो के हिसाब से किसी भी तरीके से अपने भावनाओं को, अपनी बातों को you all can send it to us. Email ID I will write in the chat box, so you can copy it from there, else you can take it from your teachers. So here I would just like to tell you that please do write, because writing आगे जा करके आपको लाइफ में बहुत ज्यादा फायदा करने वाली है। तो कौन कौन भेजने वाला है मुझे? ये देखिए सर आपको फिर से दिखाना चाह रहे हैं आपको कि किस तरीके से आप लिख सकते हैं। ये देखिए ये कितने सुंदर से लिख करके, ड्रॉ करके, इसने बॉर्डर भी अपने आप से बनाया है एंड रेडीमेड बॉर्डर्स नहीं लिया है। सो विद्या सिंह आप हैं यहाँ पे? विद्या आर यू देयर?
No, I don't
राइट
think.
साइड में देखिए मेरे कॉन्टैक्ट डिटेल्स भी दिए हुए हैं, सर शायद उसको हाईलाइट करके आपको दिखाना चाह रहे होंगे। एंड मैंने आप लोग को चैट बॉक्स में भी डाल दिया अपना ईमेल आईडी, तो आप दोनों तरीके से आप ले सकते हैं। सो अगर अब किसी को कुछ नहीं कहना तो आई जस्ट वुड लाइक टू वाइंड अप द सेशन नाउ। तो अभी आप लोगों ने देखा कि किस तरीके से आप लिख सकते हैं, तो आप राइट उसको कीजिए, आप डूडल करिए, आप उसकी ड्राइंग बनाइए, हमें पॉडकास्ट भेजिए, योर थॉट्स, योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग। एंड एक चीज पे जरूर लिखिए, आपके इंटरेस्ट एंड हॉबीज। आपका इंटरेस्ट है, आपकी हॉबीज क्या है, उसको आप एनहांस करने के लिए और क्या करना चाहेंगे। प्लीज जस्ट राइट अ पैराग्राफ अबाउट इट एंड सेंड इट टू मी। थैंक यू सो मच।
Okay. Thank you. See you next Sunday. Bye.
Bye bye, take care everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.